So you said you had teenage daughters?
I have a teenage daughter, and well, I have a 12-year-old daughter and a 13-year-old. I'm sorry, 12-year-old daughter and a 14-year-old son.
Ah, okay. And did they read the book?
My daughter did. My son has not yet. A lot of his friends have read it, but
Oh, yeah.
but he has not read it.
And what did your daughter think?
She enjoyed it very much, which was good, and it also, it was an opportunity um, to talk about the issue of sexual assault with my daughter. I mean, it was an opportunity to really to make room for a discussion on that topic. So it was a good tool for that.
And did you find that, it was something at 12 that she was hearing about or her friends had even talked about? I mean, we know on Reach Out, we get a lot of younger users who do come to the site. And very often, a lot of the really most intense bullying tends to start in middle school in sixth and seventh grade. And unfortunately, things like self-harm, also seem to start around then
Mm-hmm.
as well. So, was it for your daughter, was it something she could relate to at all in terms of like what she's seeing in her world or?
In terms of whether, my daughter knew someone who had been directly affected by sexual assault, no, she hadn't. But, in health classes and things like that, the topic had come up before. Um, it, I think that particularly in middle school, I think that's a time when, unfortunately, kids do the bullying and do all that. And I mean, I even see it, having worked in elementary schools as well. Um, so I think in terms of what I was able to do with her with the book was like I said, use it as kind of a teaching tool. Um, and unfortunately, yeah, she sees more stuff than I wish she would see. But in school, in terms of inappropriate or harmfully verbal ways that people can treat each other and physical ways. And when I was talking about not talking down to kids earlier, I mean, I think that's part of it, is that I think sometimes there's a tendency, as parents or adults to want to protect kids from things. And while I understand that tendency, the truth is that the kids are being exposed to this stuff, whether you want to protect them or not. So in not allowing them to talk about these things and in kind of making them, in kind of trying to convince yourself that by not talking about it, my kids aren't going to be aware of it, it's not going to happen. I don't believe that's true. So I think it's really important for parents and other adults to be aware that kids know stuff's going on. They might not understand it all, and that's why it's so important that they have places where they can talk about it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So are you actually working on your next
I
project?
am. I am.
Are you still sort of doing both, well, promoting and writing?
No, well, actually, in addition to writing novels, I also write picture books, and my first picture book just came out a few weeks ago. So I've been doing some promotion stuff with that, but I'm also currently at work on my second young adult novel, which should be coming out. I'm not sure if it's still slated to come out next year or sometime the following year, but it's another novel about a teen, struggling with a difficult situation. It's actually about a girl who is kind of a tough kid from the inner city who's been through some tough times and made some bad choices, and as a result of that, she's sent to an Outward Bound type program for troubled teens and in the wilderness. And while she's there, she makes another bad choice that ends up with her getting lost in the woods with another girl she can't trust. So when I was going into the initial writing of this book, I was looking at kind of the meaning of the word survival, and some of the teens that I've worked with in alternative high schools and in some residential programs, I know for them the choices that they've made may not have been appropriate choices, but what I wanted to help them see is that it's not so much to me at that point what they did to get there that matters. It's what they do from here on out. And so the book is actually called From Here on Out. And it really looks at, I want to show too how some of the things that can be seen as negatives in terms of stubbornness and issues like that can actually turn into assets if used the right way. So, you know, a kid that sees herself one way can actually start to look at herself differently. You know, you're not stubborn, you're independent. And where are those, where do you step over those lines, and how do you choose a path that's going to get you what you want without harming you or somebody else? So, I don't know, kind of a lot of big issues there that I'm trying to get all down and
no, I like
make it not sound preachy.
From stubbornness to resilience. And I think that was actually our first question, was sort of, you know, what ideas do you have for your next book? So I think you kind of answered that one.
Yeah, I just, because I think, I also think too that, you know, some people can look down on teens that have had trouble in the past, or people that have had trouble in the past, and kind of write them off. And I just want to show people that no matter where you are, there's always somewhere more positive for you to go. And it's just finding the avenues and finding the people and finding the strength within yourself to chase those paths, you know?